I'm a Lakers fan.
Now, when you say that to an NBA fan, you may get a different reaction depending on the person. But as for me,
That right there is something I used to take a lot of pride in, whether the team was good or bad. But as of recent, I do not take pride in saying that. I do not take pride in watching the Lakers, because I've come to realize that as of recent, this is not the same Lakers team I became a fan of. You see, in different eras of Lakers fans, they have their certain player that they love to root for their time. For me, that was Kobe. And no matter which era you grew up in before this one, there was a certain pride when it came to the Lakers. But this current Lakers feels different. And as a result, I have been feeling fatigue as a Lakers fan. Now, I hope I'm not alone when I say this. And to be honest, I don't think I am either. But I feel like what made the Lakers is now gone. And to be honest, I know the root cause. Only one man is responsible for this, and that is LeBron James. Now, I would like to say that I am no LeBron hater. I've also never really been the biggest fan of his. But one thing I could never deny is the caliber of a player LeBron is. What he did in 2018 still lives in my head rent-free.
And one day, 2018 LeBron will get a video. And that's just one version of LeBron. It has been 2 decades of this.
So yes, the respect is there. That being said, the way he has colonized this team is crazy. It seems like with every era of the Lakers, each face of the Lakers became a part of its culture. But it seems like with LeBron, he is the culture. In his last 6 years with the Lakers, we have been through 4 head coaches. 4. To put it into perspective how crazy this is, Mike Malone has been the head coach for the Nuggets since 2015. That is 9 going into 10 years. In 11 going into 12 years, the Clippers has had 2 head coaches. In 6, the Lakers has had 4. Let that sink in. Not to mention one of those years they actually won the championship. Their head coach at the time was Frank Vogel, who had a great idea of going big, using people like Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee to the best of their ability against other teams. And it actually got the job done.
And I don't care what anybody says, the bubble ring is legit and it counts. But you know, things don't go right for a little bit afterwards and they fire him. May I remind you that Mike Malone has been the Denver Nuggets coach for almost a decade. And only last year was he able to win a championship.
Now Frank Vogel achieved that in a fraction of that time, and they fired him. This team, man.
And then you have Darvin Ham, and he's the perfect example of what we call the honeymoon phase.
I'm going to paint a picture real quick, so bear with me.
Westbrook and Patrick Beverley are added to the team. Things are not going well with them, especially Westbrook.
And then all of a sudden, Darvin Ham has this idea to bench Westbrook.
And then tries to make him the 6th man of the year. And it works for a few games. And at that point, everyone is praising Darvin Ham as if he's some sort of hero. Again, this is the honeymoon phase. Because what happened afterwards? We found out that he doesn't know how to make any adjustments to save his life. And then he eventually gets fired. And Westbrook and Beverley eventually gets traded. And Darvin Ham is not remembered as a great coach. Quite the opposite. And while I don't think he's a great coach, you guys gotta remember, this is all under LeBron's watch. What happened to Westbrook is also LeBron's watch. LeBron teaming with Westbrook would have never worked because much like LeBron, Westbrook demands the ball as well. He is the system. When you look closely, they are low-key the same player. There are just a few things that set them both apart that makes LeBron LeBron. And Westbrook. And he became a scapegoat for a lot of the Lakers' problems. And although I do think Darvin Ham was not a very good coach, the fact that the Lakers has been through 3 coaches already in this short amount of time really says more about the Lakers.
And we're not done yet, because little did we know that JJ Redick was on the way.
Who am I kidding? We all knew.
Now, I would like to say that JJ Redick is an amazing basketball mind, but that doesn't always translate into good coaching, especially in your first year. Look at what happened with Steve Nash from the Nets and the disaster that became.
No matter how much of a mind you may have for basketball, having coaching experience is still very important.
So this year, JJ Redick becomes the head coach. And here comes that honeymoon phase once again. Unlike Darvin Ham, he actually makes adjustments. And he brought out the best of a few key players. But anything can look good in 1, 2, or even 3 games. And I think Ben Simmons has shown us that anything can look good in the off season. But the regular season will expose you, as it is 82 games. This is a marathon, not a race. That's why a lot of the changes you see made in the off season and in the first 2 to 3 games of the regular season ends up falling apart by the end of that said season, because their changes are not built to last. This is a battle of attrition at the end of the day. And it's no different for JJ Redick, as the Lakers have not been looking good. Now look, at this point we have to face facts. The Lakers, although not a bad team, they are not contenders. But because they are the Lakers, they will always be looked at like they are. This is no slight on him. But if Rui Hachimura was in another team, would he be talked about the way he is on the Lakers? No. What about Gabe Vincent? Although I do think he's a solid player, what about Austin Reeves? Would these people be expected to win?
To this extent.
If they were on another team. They wouldn't, because they're not with the Lakers and they're not with LeBron. D'Angelo Russell, when he is at his best, he is a hooper, trust and believe. But when he's at his worst, oh sweet Jesus. And more often than not, he's not doing so good. And as great as LeBron is, they cannot keep relying on him to take them to the promised land. In 2 to 3 weeks, he's 40.
And it's amazing he's dropping the numbers he's dropping at this age. But that can only take them so far. For the Lakers to be a contender, AD has to be the driving force. Not only that, he has to do this on a game-to-game basis. He's the key. And when he's on, you'll get results like the first 3 games of the season. But if he's off, they're not winning. And that's a heavy burden to bear. And that's the unfortunate reality of all of this.
And forget getting fired. It looks like JJ Redick will not even make it to the end of the season with all these tantrums he's been throwing.
He's been going crazy.
That has to be doing something to your blood pressure. And this is the Lakers situation. But that's not even the reason why I made this video. The reason why I made this video is because it looks like the time has come.
LeBron is starting to show signs of slowing down.
That year 22 is looking much less like a testament and more like a warning.
Even with his recent games, it's looking like he's taking everything he has to be doing all that.
And I know LeBron haters are rejoicing right now, but this brings me no joy, because I know that all the nonsense and all the antics that come with LeBron is going to mean nothing in the end for this team. Now, this has not been the only team LeBron has tried these antics with. I understand he's been doing this for a long time. But the difference between then and now is that, similar to Draymond Green, then you can give his antics leeway because he was just that good of a player. But now I've been trying to figure out, what is this all for? The firing of coaches, the cryptic messages, the whole situation with Bronny, which at first I was very sour on. Not because of Bronny himself, but because of the circumstances surrounding the situation. But seeing Bronny's reaction when he was drafted, and seeing him and LeBron start together,
was a great moment.
But after seeing Bronny get sent to the G League shortly after, everything just seems manufactured. Like all this is there to boost Bron's standing for the GOAT debate, which is what him and Clutch Sports try to do all the time, which is control the narrative. Can't even blame the media for doing what they do when LeBron invites it himself. And like I said, I'm no LeBron hater, but if you see it from this perspective, you see why he has haters. And ultimately, why people will never consider him to be the GOAT. Narratives, antics, hanging in-season tournament banners in the rafters. Really? LeBron has basically taken the Lakers culture and turned it on its head. And has basically turned it into a circus. Either that or a reality TV show.
That front office has no control over this, do they? And I know Kobe had his flaws,
But for all his flaws, the will to win was still always there. That was a part of the winning culture the Lakers had. That was their identity. But now it feels like that identity is lost. And you want to know the ironic part about all this?
is that they're still expected to win.
Because that's just who the Lakers are. And as far as that expectation goes, when it comes to the Lakers, I don't always agree with it because of the type of pressure it puts on players, sometimes for no reason, but I can understand it, accept it, and ultimately respect it because it's always been there.
But when you add the pressure LeBron brings just by himself, that's just insane, and it ends up hurting the team. And at this point, you might as well bring Bronny back on the team. He's gonna fit in just fine. The last time I made a Lakers-centered video was about 7 months ago. And I know a really small creator, such as myself, would benefit greatly by spamming LeBron and the Lakers all the time. Although I understand that I don't get joy from talking about this team. If you're a non-fan of the Lakers, it's a blast. But as for me, this is not fun. As for the Lakers, keep Dalton Connect at any cost. Because other than him, the Lakers have no future. But yeah, this is where my current fatigue of the Lakers comes from. At this point, I'm not really angry, I'm just tired.
And I've come to realize that I'm not as invested in this team like I used to be. And honestly, good, because if I was, at the end of the season, me and JJ Redick would have been in the same position. I don't even know if I could fully call myself a Lakers fan anymore. But maybe I can, because this is not the Lakers. It just feels like a parody at this point. But
hopefully, maybe one day, the Lakers can finally get their identity back.